What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today is my preview show for the Arizona Cardinals game. And this particular game is not going to be what most people think it's going to be about. This game is going to be a prove-it game. And the game is going to be a game within the game. The game is about, let me show you how better I'm doing without you. Like, that's pretty much what it's going to come off as. Kyler Murray and Kliff Kingsbury are going to have this time in which they're going to try to prove to each other how much better they off without each other. They're going to come off as jilted lovers. It's going to be one of those situations where everything that's going on is going to be about, hey, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I see you over there. I see you over there. But look at my new quarterback. Yeah, look at my new quarterback. He taller than you. He better than you. Younger than you. Yeah, he throw the ball better than you. And did you see what he did last week? Yeah, he showed out. He showed out the other day. Yeah, ain't that right? Yeah. My man's special. My boy, my man is special. Yeah, that's my new quarterback. And then on the other side, Kyler Murray is going to be sitting there like, yeah, but he ain't got more money than me. Yeah, guess what? I had a pretty decent week about a week ago too. Now what? You know, it ain't that special with your little offense and everything. I mean, I'm doing good over here too. Yeah, I'm doing real good over here. And that's what this game is going to be about. It's going to be about Kliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray proving to each other what they've become now that they're no longer around each other. Because again, their relationship started out very well. Everybody in Arizona, along with a lot of the NFL, felt that them being together, especially with Kliff Kingsbury getting the job his first time around, and the fact that they were drafting his first quarterback, everybody thought this was going to be good. And in year one, it was. But as it started to go on and the relationship started to sour, where it was about, Kyler Murray playing video games all the time and, him not studying the playbook like he's supposed to, him not seeming focused on what was going on. You started to see Kliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray start to divide. And that divide ended up in a situation where it made it more difficult for Kyler Murray to really develop and mold into a better quarterback. And it also hindered Kliff Kingsbury from developing and molding into a better head coach. And because of that, what happened was that we saw a massive divide between the two that set up there and really put them on a collision course of not being able to work together. And in the process since then, Kliff Kingsbury went out of the NFL and, started getting himself together and coming back. And the same thing with Kyler Murray. He got injured, started to see what was going on. Probably, I guess he still hasn't really given up the games and stuff like that. But again, what do you expect from a guy who's young? And now we're going to see what this team is really about in regards to, will they stand up for their coach who wants to prove not only to Kyler Murray, but also the Arizona ownership, the Arizona the Arizona ownership, and also the Arizona fan base, to show that him being coach in Arizona wasn't a fluke, and the success that he had early on in his career wasn't just something that was magic and out of nowhere. And this is going to be a huge game. This is going to be even a game where Kyler Murray sits up there, and at this point now, it's time for him to also take a step up, because we still haven't seen Kyler Murray at this stage in his career have a breakout performance that we can all say, oh my God, he just had the greatest performance we've ever seen in a quarterback. He does have some really good ones, but he doesn't have that signature one. And even when you think about Kyler Murray now, there's still points and times where people are questioning, did he deserve the contract that he got? But we're getting that a lot with a lot of the young quarterbacks now. Like, did they really deserve the contracts that they got? But with Kyler Murray, it's even louder because they still feel he hasn't really proven himself to be a franchise quarterback that most people was expecting for him to be. And even with Kliff Kingsbury, you're talking about coming back to the NFL, trying to prove himself again, to the point where he's telling people he's glad that he's starting out as an offensive coordinator, unlike the first time around where he was pushed into the head coaching job just off the bat without getting any experience with coordinating the offense as detailed as he did, especially when it came to the NFL. So, again, we're going to see, I think this is one of those games that we're going to see a very gritty game because in reality, both teams have to prove that they're not the bottom feeders of their divisions anymore. We saw Arizona and Washington, especially when you're talking about former rivals, former long-time rivals, because for most people who don't know, just in case you are new to this whole thing, Arizona at one time was in the in the NFC East, and they were a very tough team in the NFC East. And I remember when they were breaking up the divisions into 4 divisions, a lot of people were upset that Arizona was leaving the division. People understood it, but there were a lot of people that were upset because Arizona was a very strong opponent when it came to the NFC East. So again, it's one of those things where we could rekindle an old rivalry, but I don't think it's going to happen because it's one of those rivalries that's been old and gone for so long. And the fact that we barely see him. I mean, we really barely see him. And then when we do see him, it's always a very close game. But it's also one of those games where it's up and down, or it doesn't quite seem right and everything like that. But now with the two sides, you're talking about the former coach on one side and the quarterback on the other side, we're going to see possibly a very intense game. We're also going to see if Jaden Daniels shows that, Monday night's fantastic performance is not a fluke. We're also going to have to see if some of these other wide receivers are now able to step up as well. And that means like somebody like Noah Brown. And we saw De'Ami Brown show up in those bubble screens. We saw Luke McCaffrey show up. So now we're really going to see what happens. Is this offensive line going to hold up against this new group that's coming in? Is the defensive line going to really put pressure on Kyler Murray? Because again, that offensive line in Arizona may not be the top offensive line, but they're a very solid group, and I think this is their second year being all together. So again, this is not a fluke team or a team to take lightly. This is a very dangerous team. We're going to have to get pressure with the front seven, and they're going to have to make sure that all the pressure that they're getting is very consistent, because currently right now we understand, we know that our secondary is not the strongest. And going up against two guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., and I know that most people don't pay attention to him, but Michael Wilson Jr. is just as dangerous. He's just as dangerous of a wide receiver. And we saw that when we saw them, I think it was last year, the first game of the season last year, when we saw Michael Wilson and Josh Dobbs basically was throwing to him every moment he got. So again, we're going to be in a very tough battle when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals. And some people may overlook them. I can understand that. But this is not a team to overlook. This is not a team to sleep on. This is not a quarterback to sleep on. Again, we have to get the pressure. Their running game is very solid with James Conner. This is not a team to sleep on. Trey Benson, they drafted Trey Benson this year. I'm not sure if he's injured, but Trey Benson is a guy who can be very dangerous. He does have that Austin Eckler type of style to him, so he could be a problem when it comes to getting it. So again, we need our front seven to get all the pressure as possible, so our secondary isn't being destroyed when it comes down to it. I think Trey McBride might be out in this game because I know he was still going through the concussion protocol, but we'll see what happens. Again, I am excited about this upcoming game. This will be a tough game. Again, we see a guy who's a freak of nature on that other side of that defense. I mean, when you think about Xavier Collins, he's not a guy to sleep on. So again, I know Buda Baker went down, so that might be a little bit of relief right there. But again, like I said, we will see how this goes. I think this will be a very hard-fought game, and a game that will come down to who makes the first mistake, or who makes more mistakes than the other team. You know, and what that means is how many times do we see a blown coverage? How many times will we see a running back break a long play? Things of that such nature. So, I mean, this will be a prove it game. Prove that you're a solid team on the Washington side. Prove that you're a solid team on the Arizona side. Hey, Kliff Kingsbury is going to try to prove that, yes, when I was coaching Arizona, that wasn't a fluke thing, and I can be successful. On the other side, Kyler Murray is going to be like, look at me now, and I'm actually successful without you. So, again, we're going to see a very big, very tough prove-it game for everybody involved, and it's going to be one of those things that we're going to probably be talking about this game and how hard fought this game really was. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's a four something o'clock game. I think it's 4:25 game. Which makes sense because we're in Arizona. So again, I want to know what some of y'all think. How do y'all feel about this upcoming game? Do y'all feel it as well as it's also, do y'all think that it's also a prove-it game? Kliff Kingsbury trying to prove to Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray trying to prove it to Kliff Kingsbury. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.